He's a dandy. All right, guys. Topic 1.
Let's hear it.
Everybody been seeing the news.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Alabama man is executed. When was that?
Yesterday.
The 25th.
The 25th. Alabama carries out first known execution with nitrogen gas in the United States. I cannot believe. I mean, I am absolutely mind blown.
Be a tough way to go.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to go with it because this dude, Alabama's inmate Kenneth Smith was his name, right?
Kenneth. He kept the Kenneth?
Yeah, he didn't. He wasn't Kenny for short. His name
Well,
was
I
Kenneth.
think when you're known by your police record, like the mug shot isn't going to have your alias. It's
No,
gonna have-
I mean, hell, he could be like Ken Dog or
Yeah.
K-Money.
K Swizzle.
Oh.
Yeah, something like that.
K-Dub.
Yeah, Big K. What was his last name? K Smith.
Yeah.
Or Smitty. Maybe they call him Smitty.
Yeah.
Smitty.
Smitty K.
Smitty K.
Smitty K, I like
Yeah.
it.
Special K.
Well, he gone now.
Yeah, he gone. Yeah, turns out when you stab a woman to death.
Did he actually stab her, or was it just a murder for hire that never got...
Well, I didn't read
No,
that
I
far into it. I thought he stabbed her at a church or something.
Oh, maybe he did. I thought...
Preaching the gospel and then stabbing somebody
Yeah.
is probably one of the worst crimes you could commit.
So anyway, getting back to here, that he had a keeper, like a
Trapper keeper.
no, sir. He had like a guy, like a
Oh, no.
Like a
He-
life
his
coach.
Spiritual advisor.
yes, sir.
I saw his interview.
That's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
A spiritual advisor is what this guy
Kinky
was.
Friedman had one.
Yeah,
Who?
yeah.
Kinky Friedman ran for governor of Texas. He was a country music singer. He touted himself as the only Jewish cowboy. But his spiritual advisor was Billy Joe Shaver.
Shaver or Schaefer.
Shaver.
Okay.
Who coincidentally, I believe he shot a feller in the face in a bar one time in self-defense and got away with it.
Wow.
Anyway,
Yeah.
spiritual advisor.
Yeah.
We
So
digress.
this guy is he's given an interview. So I guess he must have been permitted to be like in the gallery.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Of the viewing the execution, and he said that the guy just sat there and flopped like a fish.
So,
Well,
yeah,
that's
so
funny.
I think it's worth bringing up. Maybe not everybody knows how that would work, but nitrogen thieves oxygen.
Yes.
So basically, you're just fish out of a water.
100%.
Have you ever
suffocated.
have you ever heard the people talk about like a high thought that maybe oxygen is what's actually killing you and nitrogen keeps you alive?
Never
No,
heard that.
never heard.
You've never heard that? Okay. Good talk.
Yeah. In theory, the method involves replacing the air breathed by an inmate with 100% nitrogen, depriving the body of oxygen. Yeah. It says proponents argue that the process should be painless, citing nitrogen's role in deadly industrial accidents or suicides. And the state indicated in court records that it believes nitrogen hypoxia is perhaps the most humane method of execution ever. I don't get it. Like, I mean,
Nitrogen's cheap in the big scheme of things. I think it's
Good
probably what the
God.
deal is.
It was the 1988 murder for hire plot
yeah,
of Elizabeth Sennett.
right.
That's what. Okay, I didn't read it, but that's what made me think that it never happened.
What did you say his religious advisor's name was?
I don't know.
Jeff Hood.
There you go.
Reverend Jeff Hood.
Yeah.
Billy Joe Shaver was one we were talking
Yeah,
about.
Kinky
which is
Friedman's.
Kinky Friedman's. Yeah,
Man, I wish my name was Kinky.
he's a weird duck. He had a show on CMT.
Yeah.
It was vote for Kinky. If you don't love Jesus, then go to hell.
Oh my
Was
God.
his campaign slogan.
But no, I just can't believe it. Like, why? Okay, and the reason that they did this is because they had a failed execution attempt in 22 because they said that he couldn't find a vein. How is that? Like, I know hell the one lady over here dug around on you, big fella, for however long, and she eventually found one. But I guess that was what got me, is that why? I mean, like, he couldn't. Like, everybody has to be able to be stuck, I guess. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I would only assume.
Maybe there was a big Alabama football game that night before, and everybody was a little hazy the next day and couldn't figure out how to work the needle.
Well, it's the thing of it is with like on two sides, like all these people can condemn it and say it's bad because like everything else in this country, everything's split. You're either on one side or you're on the other, and then you're so rampant wild on the other one. But this guy chose this method.
Yeah.
So like states
But
have
didn't
options
but
to
didn't
pick
he
from.
try to appeal it as well because it was
Inhumane.
inhumane?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Maybe that's why he chose that way, thinking he'd have it.
Did you know that Alabama is like one of the highest states in the United States for executions?
them in Texas.
They've had 72 since 1983.
Well, just think
Yeah,
about
we've only had probably 2 or 3 in that time.
if any.
Oh, we killed the Unabomber, didn't we?
That's
No,
federal.
not Timothy.
That might
no,
have been-
not the Unabomber. We killed Timothy McVeigh.
They. That was, but that's Terre Haute. That's federal.
Oh.
This is state execution.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But it still
there's
happened
a
in
federal.
Indiana.
Yeah, there's a federal prison in Terre Haute.
Yeah.
There's also a state prison in Terre Haute
Yeah.
at Wabash Valley there. So but yeah, he was executed.
Which one is in Carlisle?
That's the one he's talking about. That's a state prison.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's Wabash Valley Correctional.
And and
They have a level 1, which is like the worst of the worst.
and
then a
Terre
level
Haute
3.
is what's the one? Where's the federal one?
Terre Haute.
Terre Haute.
Like in city.
Like they
Well,
might even
it's
be
West
close
Terre
to
Haute.
each other.
It takes about 15 minutes to get from one to the other.
Yeah, so it's the same general neighborhood there, but that's like that one, that murder that happened south of us down here.
Oh, yeah.
and I'm trying to think of.
Spencer County.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the victim's name in that, because the murderer is his like Roy Lee Ward or some shit.
Yes.
Isn't that his name? But he's been on it since he's been on death row. That was what, early '90s
Oh yeah.
or late '90s.
Yeah, because
Just
Dad,
sucking down the taxpayers' money.
Well, you should hang him high. That goes pretty quick too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to say, we were talking about this at work, and it hit
Stacy
pretty quick.
Payne. That's what it was. The Stacy Payne girl. They were swimming in a swimming pool, I believe. Right there, you know where Denny's is now? If you're going south on 231, you go across the interstate, and there's that little brown house right there on the south side of the interstate. And I guess this dude, yeah.
So here's a little bit more. In 1988, Smith was convicted of murdering Elizabeth Dorleen Sene in Colbert County, Alabama. We'll have to call Andy McHugh and find out where Colbert County, Alabama is.
We'll have to phone a friend.
Phone a friend. Sennett was the wife of Church of Christ pastor Charles Sennett,
There we go.
who paid Smith and another man $1,000 to kill a spouse, which that's cheap.
Yeah.
In the movies, it's at least a 5-figure number there.
Really?
I
You
think
know,
so.
but really, if the fella didn't have any means, like if he didn't have a house, didn't have any good place to live, think about it. He got $1,000. He probably went out and spent it on hookers and cocaine or something in the days leading to his arrest.
Yeah, but if
and
it was
he's
him
had
and-
3 squares and a cot every day since.
But if he did it with another guy, he only got $500. And I
That
know
goes
it,
a long way on hookers and blow in 1988 in Alabama.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. I don't
She was
know.
beaten by a fireplace implement and stabbed 10 times in the chest, and that sounds brutal.
Holy shit.
He was sentenced to death, but it was overturned on appeal in 92. The jury then sentenced him to life without parole by a vote of 11-1. But Smith ultimately wasn't spared a death sentence as a judge overruled the jury and said, nope, death penalty anyways. So he's been sitting on death row since 96. But that's,
He
I don't know.
He didn't go to, oh no, death row since 96.
yeah, he's been on death row since 96.
How long has he been a ward of the state there?
Well, murder for hire in 88. So in 89, he was sentenced for capital murder. So I would assume you're probably talking about a year or two for arrest and trial. He was maybe arrested in 80. Well, it says in 88 he was convicted. So
he was funded by the government for damn near as long as I've been alive.
yeah.
Wow. Isn't that nuts?
Well, and the guy's middle name was Eugene, by the way. I don't know.
They're taking heavy fire over this. The state of
Alabama?
Yeah.
Well,
they're
but
they're getting
it
it,
was-
from
it was
they're
a
coming
bit-
from the UN.
But the Alabama
European
official said like
Union.
it went the way it was, like it was supposed to. Like he moved a little bit, but he wasn't flopping like a fish.
Yeah, the one guy, that actual representative from the prison or whoever the bald guy in the suit, he said that it was just,
It's involuntary.
agonal breathing and some other things that's, that comes with the territory.
I guess the only thing I'd have an issue with it, or the only thing that made me question is, to me, it could be hard to watch, I think, to watch somebody suffocate. Mm-hmm. Because you got to think in the gallery, there still could be family there that think they want to be there.
Well, sure
closure.
there was. Yeah.
But do you want that in your head? You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
it's funny you bring that up, Dave.
that was my thought, is should it be something that you don't want it to scar the person further that's trying to get closure?
We talked about it in law school, or I might have been practicing already, and you talk to other guys and be like, would you, like, if you had a client that you represented, you lost, but you did everything you could, yada, 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 whatever, would you want to watch it happen? And it was amazing, the split of kind of how everything was. And I think where you get caught up in is in 30 years of this guy sitting in prison, there's no telling what he got involved in.
Right.
Sure.
No telling what kind of education he got. He gets this spiritual advice. I mean, they don't find Jesus until they murder somebody.
Exactly.
And some people would say, hey, that's good because at least he found God and he found Jesus. But then there's a lot of people that say he's just doing that because he's trying to save his life down the road. All these people miraculously find God when they need to, which I guess is a good thing. And I'm not saying it's bad, but how many of them really do it for the right reasons, and how many of them do it so
Had a feller tell me once that atheism never cured drug addiction. I think it was just some folks are saying it just to say it.
Oh shoot! I don't know. It's I forgot to push play on the timer there.
That's
by the way,
okay.
Well, that's no problem.
It's just a.
but I don't know. We always talked about it, and I said if I had a good relationship with the guy, like not befriended, but when you represent some of these people, some of them are just truly, truly, truly just evil, and you don't want anything to do with that evil. If this guy, he probably had a rap sheet already, because most of the time you don't get asked randomly to commit murder for hire without somebody knowing that you're willing to at least do it or entertain the thought of it. Because I don't think you just wake up on a Tuesday, Dave, and say, hey, I think I'll take $1,000 and go kill a lady. There's got to be some kind of precursor there. But
I wonder what the husband got.
Googler could find it. He'd get those little fingers fired up going.
What do you mean?
Well,
The
he
guy
would
that hired the guy that
conspiracy
kicked it all
to
off.
commit murder. He probably got a life sentence.
That'd be good.
Really?
I'm
guess-
speculating.
I guess I'm playing devil's advocate here, but if you're
Well,
you've got an influential position at that point in time, and maybe if you've got a weak-minded or weak-willed person.
yeah.
I'm not trying to stick up for the guy that did the murder, and he's probably a bag of shit, I'm sure.
Yeah, well,
But
he
I'm
was.
just saying,
We can talk about him in the past tense.
Yeah, he's dead.
He gone.
yeah, but that's. I hope the person that had some sort of influential position got what he had coming to, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would, that the tough thing with these is that's why I love, was it on Netflix? Making a Murderer?
Oh,
Not
yeah.
Making a Murderer, but the Death Row show.
Oh,
Where you interview those people that
I'm a killer. Or
I am a
whatever.
killer. Yeah. I love watching those, because when Janelle and I first started watching them, she would be like, oh my gosh, that guy seems like a good person. And I'll go, okay, honey. Well, 95% of what he just told you, he's full of shit.
Yeah.
I said, let's dig, you do a little deep dive and research on these people, and you're like, oh my gosh, they are inhumane, what they did and what they did to other people. And it just finally caught up with him. I'm like, that's exactly right. It's just, those guys will rationalize and tell you everything one way or the other, why they're not bad people or they didn't do anything wrong or nothing, because they think you're a mark and a sucker. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that you get that perspective unless you work in the business, because that's where, like, these people, that prison official, very probably cold calculated a written statement that they've worked out to provide with everybody, but they know what this guy really did. They know who he was, how he acted, what was going on around him. And yeah, some people do change, but some people change for the image of it because someday they think it's going to pay off for them. And that's how criminals act and think. Some are playing the long game. If you've been on death row for 30 years, You're playing the long game, right? So it's an interesting thing. I don't, it's so expensive now for counties to try death penalty or life without parole cases.
Yeah.
So you don't even see them anymore. A lot of times in these cases, super heinous, you'll see them charge. They'll enter into a plea where the defendant agrees to life without parole because they take the death penalty off the board. But these counties, it could bankrupt a county to try a case because you're probably, I would hate to think about how much money you have in it, but in a life without parole or death penalty case in the state of Indiana, you get an automatic appeal by right. And so you think about the, what is the state trooper's name? Southeast Indiana over there, like Floyd County, Ward, Cam Lee Ward. I don't know why but he, I think he had one appeal, got a new trial, had a second appeal.
Did he kill his wife?
He did not. There was
wasn't there a cop that killed his wife?
That's who I'm talking about. Oh. And it took till I think the third appeal where he was finally found not guilty, but there was just stuff at each level at the trial that judges allowed that the Court of Appeals was like, you can't do that. So think about that. I mean, go ahead.
Sorry. Epiphany.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I please.
I just finally found what I was looking for.
Okay.
A week after Elizabeth's murder, Elizabeth Sennett, Charles Sennett Sr. killed himself when he learned he was a suspect in the murder. Billy Gray Williams was sentenced to life imprisonment without possibility of parole and died in prison November 2020. Smith and John Forrest Parker were both sentenced to death.
So who was the other guy?
The preacher husband.
Yeah, the husband was the guy who killed himself.
The accomplice,
Billy Gray Williams.
There was three of them involved.
Yeah, Billy Gray Williams was sentenced to life without parole.
What was his role in all this?
Remember, there was two people. They had to split the $1,000.
Yeah, but he said three, and then
so then they got Smith and John Forrest Parker were both sentenced to death. So I don't know who this Billy Gray feller was.
Oh, that's not the husband.
No, sir. Charles Sennett was the husband. Yeah. I don't know. Sounds like a wild deal. We may need to look into that a little bit later.
Is there
fact gathering?
Yeah. Well,
Pretty wild.
I think it said there's like 45 others that have elected this nitrogen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know what lethal injection feels like, but I feel like if they just pump some shit in your arm and you go to sleep and that's it, I'd be a little.
It's the same stuff they use to put down dogs.
Yeah. It's like a high.
The only thing I can figure is I thought I seen something where there was appeals because they thought it was inhumane to do it that way.
Oh yeah,
so maybe people are picking it, hoping that it'll
go away.
But here's the wild thing of it. This was recorded, so if you can't really blur out the face because you know who it's going to be. But if you have this reverend saying he flopped like a fish out of water. And you have the other jail official that was like, well, he didn't feel it. He was out within a few seconds, and that was his body just slowly, you slip into unconsciousness, and then he doesn't feel the rest of that.
Jesus takes the wheel.
Yes. Yeah. Think about in the day when they used to strap you.
Maybe, yeah.
They strapped you into the chair, put the wet sponge on your head, and then flipped the switch. That'd be a tough way.
What was the one guy? Some dude got executed one time, and it was in probably the late 70s, 80s, somewhere, and they were like, turn all the lights off. Everybody, they wanted everybody to turn their lights off at home, thinking that there'd be more power going to the chair or whatever. I can't remember what that was.
I don't know why they don't bring back firing squads.
I know. Was it 3 and 5? 5 guys, 3 bullets. Is that what it is?
But nowadays you could do it with you could set it up with a robot to do it.
We'll just take it back to the
and
woodshed.
Then just push the button.
Yeah.
Or you didn't even have to do it. You could have AI do it.
Guillotine.
Oh.
Get the old apple basket out.
Heads will roll.
Let them in there.
Think about the frontier justice when they used to just hang
him in the courthouse square. We were talking about that today too. Anyway, this is getting pretty dark, so let's shift gears here and go on to you, Casey.
Well, it's
What you got,
funny you
big
bring
fella?
that up.